Homer, the Greek poet, was born around the 8th century BC in the city of Smyrna. He was rumored to be either blind or partially blind, but nonetheless, he was a great storyteller. Homer's most famous works, the Iliad and the Odyssey, have become canonical pieces of literature and foundational works for Western culture. The Iliad tells the story of a Trojan war between King Agamemnon and Achilles, the Trojan War's greatest warrior. The conflict arises when Agamemnon takes Achilles' war prize, Briseis, leading to an all-out war between the two. The Odyssey is centered around Odysseus' 10-year journey home to Ithaca after the fall of Troy, battling dangerous creatures like the Cyclops and navigating the Siren's Call. Homer's writing style, known as Homeric Greek, is a unique combination of the Ionic and Aeolic dialects, making it a one-of-a-kind feature in literary history. Although none of his work survives in their original form, his writing was influential in shaping ancient Greek culture and education for centuries to come. Homer's works highlighted the ideals of heroism, glory, and honor that have resonated throughout the ages. Homer's influence can be seen in other classical works like Dante Alighieri's Divine Comedy, where he is referred to as poet sovereign. The timing and authorship of the Iliad and the Odyssey remain under debate, but many scholars believe them to be composed during the late 8th or early 7th century BC. Despite the mysterious and foggy accounts of Homer's life, he remains a revered and vital figure in ancient Greek literature, with his works being taught in schools worldwide to this day. Once upon a time in ancient Greece, there was a man named Homer who was associated with two of the most famous epic poems in the world, the Iliad and the Odyssey. Many people considered him to be a legendary figure, but some literary works were attributed to him in antiquity, including the Homeric hymns and the contest of Homer and Hesiod. These works were not universally accepted or considered authentic during that time. However, despite all this, Homer still managed to make a significant impact on ancient Greek culture. People viewed him as a central figure, and his stories and poems would go on to inspire generations of artists, writers, and poets. His name became synonymous with the art of storytelling and the ingenuity of Greek literature. As time passed, the stories and poems attributed to Homer went on to become some of the most influential works in Western literature. Even today, people continue to study and cherish his works, keeping his legacy alive and preserving the interesting details of his life and times. Once upon a time in ancient Greece, there was a legendary poet named Homer. Homer was a subject of many claims throughout history, including being blind, living in Chios, and being the son of the river Meles and the nymph Chrytheis. He was also known as a wandering bard that composed many works, including the famous Iliad and Odyssey. However, there were different accounts about Homer's death. Some believe that he died in Ios or failed to solve a riddle set by fishermen. There were also different explanations for the origin of the name Homer. According to one tradition, during the time of Roman Emperor Hadrian, Epicasti and Telemachus were his parents. However, the two most famous biographies of Homer were The Life of Homer by the Pseudo-Herodotus and The Contest of Homer and Hesiod. In the account of the fictional poetry contest at Chalcis by Alcidamas, both Homer and Hesiod were invited to recite the best passage from their work. Homer chose a description of Greek warriors in formation, while Hesiod picked the beginning of works and days. Although the crowd cheered for Homer as the victor, the judge awarded Hesiod the prize for being the poet who praised husbandry, which he considered greater than the one who told tales of battles and slaughter. Despite the many claims surrounding Homer, he remains an iconic figure in Greek literature and history. His works have inspired and captivated audiences for centuries, and his legacy continues to live on today. The study of Homer, the ancient Greek poet, has been an academic focus for thousands of years. In the earliest times, critics like the poet Xenophanes of Colophon criticized Homer's portrayal of the gods as immoral. Theogenes of Rhegium, however, defended Homer by saying that his epics were actually allegorical. Homer's works were used as school texts in ancient Greece and Hellenistic cultures, with the Iliad and Odyssey being the first literary works taught to students. During the Hellenistic and Roman periods, many scholars produced extensive commentaries and interpretations, explaining the culturally or linguistically difficult parts. As more writers praised Homer's wisdom, he began to be seen as a prototypical philosopher. Some even believed that Homer's original intended purpose was to educate. Byzantine scholars, such as Eustathius of Thessalonica and John Tzetzes, added to the extensive commentary tradition. Eustathius's commentary on the Iliad alone stretched to almost 4,000 oversized pages in modern printed versions, while his Odyssey commentary added almost 2,000 more pages. Today, Homer's works remain a fascinating subject of study, admired for their literary genius and cultural significance.
Do you want to explore more Greek mythology stories? Who do you want to see featured next? Subscribe and leave a comment below to let me know. I'll see you in the next video.